Hello, everybody. This is Zach at it again. I'm your host, Zach Cooley, and I'm happy to have with me, as part of our monthly spotlight of the Wythe County Technology Center and its departments, I'm talking today to First Sergeant Pat Spradlin. Thank you, Sergeant Spradlin, for being with me and talking to me today.
My pleasure, sir.
I'm very interested in finally getting to talk to you about your department because your department is very different than the other departments. Can you explain to me what it is that your program does?
Well, sir, it's about leadership. It's about loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage.
All right.
So along with leadership, we also do a lot of drill and ceremony, first aid, map reading, things of that nature. However, if a young person wants to go into the military and they take my class for 3 years, they can go in at a higher rank. I'm not a recruiter. I don't try to convince any young person to go into the military. It's all about them stepping outside of their comfort zone.
Right.
You take a young person who has never been in front of others, and now all of a sudden they're teaching them how to do left face and right face. So it's all about leadership, sir.
Right. Okay. All right. So you have students, you said they can take for up to 3 years. So does that start with the sophomore level?
They can come in at the freshman level.
Okay.
The requirement to go in at a higher rank would be 3 years. And the student will also receive a credential from my class. If a young person takes my class for 2 years and maintains a C average, that person can receive a credential. And as you know, in the state of Virginia, you must have credentials in order to graduate.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, how did you come to be the instructor at Wythe County Technology Center?
Well, sir, I retired from the Army in 2004, and I taught for 2 years JRTC in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm from Covington, Virginia. And the Wythe County job opened up in 2006, and I believe there were 7 of us who interviewed. And I was on my way up to West Virginia for another interview, and I was coming back across the border and got a phone call. So I swung back into Wythe County, and I was told congratulations, and that was in 2006, and I've been busy ever since.
And that's 17 years ago, so in that time, you must have accrued some success stories with your students. Can you talk about some of your successes that you know of with your former or current students?
Sure. I'll give you a blast from the past. I've got a young man named John Archer. John, I believe, graduated in 2009.
I know John. Yes, sir.
Okay. And John went into the Army Reserves, and he comes and helps me out occasionally after school for some of my extracurricular activities. Derek Russell. I believe Derek graduated in 2008 or 2009.
Yep.
He also went into the Army Reserves.
Yep. I know Duck too. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So there's 2 for you right there. More recently, I've got a young man from George Wythe. His name is Cody Bradley. He's a junior going into his senior year at George Wythe. He's in basic training right now. I just got a text message from his mom telling me that he's doing great, and I'd like to try to go see his graduation, but we'll see what happens.
You said that your primary objective is not with students in the military, but something that I have seen with JROTC students is the color guard. My wife is a wonderful singer, and she has done the national anthem several times for things like when the honor flight comes in for the veterans
Yes, sir.
to go to the Vietnam Memorial or World War II Memorial, and they always have the color guard there that follows her rendering of the national anthem, and that color guard is always very stirring to watch.
I appreciate that. Yes, they're a good bunch of kids. I promise you.
Yes, and that is always. As an American, of course, I'm very proud that my wife can perform that song, and it's not an easy thing to do. And to see things like that followed by the color guard, that is a moving experience that really, I think, shows what it means to be a proud American when you see something like that.
Yes, sir. We average about 25 to 28 color guards a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we do every single home football game, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, not only for Wytheville, but we also do the Veterans Day for Rural Retreat. So each high school has their own color guard.
Fantastic. So how many students have you had this past year?
This past year, I think I had about 88 or 89. Yes, sir.
That is the largest number of students of any other department that I've interviewed so far.
This upcoming year is going to be really something. They've had to restructure my schedule. I will be teaching at the Technology Center during first block, and I think there's something like 40 kids alone just from George Wythe coming in. And then I have 18 from Fort Chiswell and 16 from Rural Retreat. That's just first semester. So we're pretty busy.
That is fantastic. Yes, you're obviously very busy. It's obviously quite a strenuous load, but it must be very rewarding that many people are interested in your program.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. People ask me all the time, when are you going to retire, man? No time soon. I'm still having fun. I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy interacting with the young people. Not everybody's a football player or basketball player, but they can come to me and, there they are. They're a star on the color guard. They're a star on my physical fitness team, my Raider team.
You bet.
So, yes, sir.
When you are recruiting students, what kinds of things do you, what kind of things can you offer them to say, this might be good for you if you want to check out the JROTC?
Well, sir, the first thing that I do is I make sure that every single kid knows that I'm not a recruiter, and you do not go into the military simply because you take the class.
Right.
I talk about credentialing. I do talk about the possibility of getting a higher rank if you decide to go into the military. I also talk about the next level of education, ROTC, or possibly even one of the service academies like West Point or Naval Academy or the Air Force Academy. I can help kids get into that. Also, I talk about Virginia Tech Corps Cadets. I am going to a promotion party in August for one of the senior officers there at Virginia Tech. So, you talk about those things, but you also talk about your extracurricular activities. As I said before, not everybody's a star football player, so, this young person might see an opportunity to participate in something, other than football, basketball, or baseball. And they do. They step right up. And they have no problem shouldering that responsibility.
Well, that's an amazing thing. And you seem to have a great rapport with your former and current students. Do you think that your course offers a kind of maybe a tighter camaraderie between you and the students in some way?
Yes, sir, I do. I do. You know, again, you know, you've got the young person who is not that athlete, but they come in and after the first semester of doing drill, they'll come up to me and say, "Hey, I want to do a color guard." And I start training them. Well, I don't really train them. I have students trained. It's train the trainer in my class. I have my upper level classmen. They teach basic drill and ceremonies. They lead PT. And then they come to me and they recommend, you know, a student for promotion and more responsibility. And we will evaluate that student and they'll step right into the next available leadership position. So the kids actually run the program.
Yeah, they do their own instruction in a sense almost.
They do. You know, like the map reading and first aid, I'll teach that, but I have my cadets, they will go back and do reinforcement training with map reading and first aid before the young person gets evaluated, you know, for a test grade. So, you know, and when a young person wants to be promoted to the next higher rank, they have to do basic drill movements, and I will stand by as the upperclassman evaluates that person. Right. And, you know, if they're squared away, then they get the next higher rank.
Yes, I think that is fantastic. And can you explain to me a little more about the map reading and what that entails?
Well, when we're doing map reading classes, the first thing that I teach the child or the young person is, you know, a map is a geographical representation of the Earth's surface as seen from above. And then I break that down into how is a map created. And once that's broken down and the young person understands how we make a map, we then start looking at the various terrain features. We look at the different colors and what they represent, the symbols and what they represent. So by the time I'm done, a young person can look at a 1,000-meter grid square and identify what the color green means, what the color black means. Is this a ridge or a valley? And then we also do a pace count so that the young person is ever out in the woods, they understand how to count their steps so they know how far they've gone, and to use a compass. So that is our map reading class.
Every other department, I ask a lot of basic questions. Like most departments have like different certifications that they can offer students as they go in the work world, like the OSHA or the Skills USA competition or things like that. I would imagine with your program that's a bit different. Now you mentioned that a student with 3 years experience can gain credentials, and if they want to go into the military, they can enter at a higher rank. But are there any other certifications that students can get from your program that will help them in the work world? And what type of jobs would those credentials help them get into?
One of the things that I highly recommend to each student is that they take the ASVAB test. And I make sure that they understand that the ASVAB does not commit you to the military.
Right.
But what the ASVAB does is it really shows your strengths and your weaknesses. And I use this example for my students all the time. You know, you might want to be a brain surgeon, but according to the ASVAB, you should be, you know, an electrical engineer. So I highly recommend the ASVAB. And when a student scores 32 or higher on the ASVAB, they receive a credential from me. So, of course, they have to be in the class for 2 years. They have to maintain a C average, but they score 32 or higher, they receive that credential. The ASVAB is a wonderful tool. In my opinion, it's harder than the SAT. I've taken both, and I believe it's a wonderful tool. I wish we would, as a school system, would put more emphasis on that ASVAB, but
right.
It is what it is. But
exactly.
The ASVAB is a great tool.
All programs, some programs at the WCTC, some of them require more collegiate work than others. Some of them you don't need very much collegiate work. What type of collegiate follow-up is necessary, and if it isn't really necessary, what can collegiate work advance you to be able to do if they choose that option?
Well, collegiate work, as you refer to, is not necessary. Obviously, reading, writing, and arithmetic is going to be key in any of the classes.
Sure.
But if a young person, say a young person who is, a dual enrolled student, and they are. I'll take for an example my youngest son. He's in a master's program right now for business, and Zachary was a very intelligent kid.
That's my name. He's got to be an intelligent kid. He's got a great name there.
Well, he loved the class, he, unlike my other two kids, he wasn't into sports, other than rec league, but it helped him a lot when it comes to concentration, because he was on my rifle team. I'm a certified civilian marksmanship instructor, and in my bay, I turned my bay into an indoor range, and we shoot air rifles, and I teach the young people, the students, the safety and all the fundamentals of rifle marksmanship. Well, my son Zachary was on the team for 4 years, and you really have to concentrate when you're performing that act. So I think that helped him out a lot.
Well, he sounds like a cool guy. He's got a great name, and I wasn't the athletic type either. So it sounds like we're kindred spirits in a way. Is he ZACH or ZACK?
It's ZACH.
Oh, good man. He knows how to spell. Very good. Very good.
Yes, sir. And he doesn't like to be called Zach. He says, my name is not Zach. It's Zachary.
All right. Well, I apologize. But he's got it spelled right. That's great.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, you mentioned to me yesterday, I am talking to you from West Virginia. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So where is your home? Where are you located?
Oh, I live in Wytheville.
You live in Wytheville.
I come up here in the summertime. I help a gentleman on his farm cutting hay and baling. That's what I was doing this morning, was throwing square bales, and then I had to run to the house real fast like and grab some lunch and then be ready for you.
I see.
As soon as we finish this conversation, I'm going back out, trying to get some 30 or 40 more square bales off the property before the rain comes.
Oh my! Well, my hats off to you. Now that you live in Wytheville, you're from Covington. How do you find living and teaching in Wythe County? How is that special, if you will? How do you find that different, if you will, from other places you've lived and worked?
Well, as an adult, I'm 60 years old, and I've made a lot of decisions in my life, some bad, some good. But the two best decisions that I ever made, one was going into the military, and two was accepting the offer here in Wythe County. I have thoroughly enjoyed the 17 years. The community supports the program, the school board, the teachers, administrators, they all support the program. And, well, you know Duck, you know John. And so, there's some young people out there that I run into all the time. Of course, the number one thing that they want to do when they turn 21 is to buy me a beer, and I totally accept that. So,
amen. All right.
We with the color guard and everything like that, and those kids' names being announced, and them walking out on that football field and carrying that flag and everything like that. That right there is a great tool for the program. But I have enjoyed my time in Wythe County, and I plan on enjoying several more years.
Wonderful. I'll close with this. How can we as a community do more to promote and support your program? I know Summerstone wanted me to be sure and plug to have everybody come to the football games in the fall so they could see the color guard. That's one thing she said. Be sure and do that. So.
Right. Well, shortly after I came to Wythe County, I was asked to speak at a Memorial Day ceremony in Wytheville.
Right.
And my topic, I think, might have thrown everybody for a loop. I talked about calling my fellow veterans. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't a Memorial Day, it was a Veterans Day. I'm sorry about that. I called my fellow veterans back to active duty because the young people today, they need role models. They need someone to speak harshly if need be, but hold them up at the same time.
Right.
And when you think about a veteran, that person has been there, done that, and they've got a couple T-shirts in the drawer for themselves.
Right.
Well, that right there is what I believe is so important. I think that's what keeps me going. As a matter of fact, we're not the America that we were 30 years ago.
Yeah,
and
amen.
Even 20 years ago.
Amen.
But guidance for these young people, be it church, be it a coach, a pastor, a principal, a teacher, it doesn't matter. But guiding these young people to make smart decisions in their lives, and the community can definitely help in that arena.
And I think I think it's not presumptuous of me to say that most of the students that you have had have the heart and the patriotism to be. They want to be better Americans. Would you say that's true?
Yes, sir. I definitely would. Well, the majority of my friends on Facebook, after they graduate, but the majority of mine are, there's a few family, there's a few of my fellow, patriots in arms there, but the rest are previous students. And, they post pictures of themselves with their wife and their children, and they're going fishing, and they're eating dinner, and they're going to work, and it's just, I'm seeing them grow up, in school, and then also, in a sense, outside of school, through that social media connection there. And I'm so very proud of each and every one of them.
Right.
I truly am. A long time ago, I had a good friend of mine. His name was Colonel G.T. Myers, and we talked together in Georgia, and he told me something back then. He said, Pat, you can't save them all, meaning you can't save every single student, every single young person. But I find that a hard pill to swallow. I truly do. And, I won't wash my hands with any kid. I just can't.
Right. I think maybe, you can't save them all, but your goal is that needs to be your intention, as I'm going in there with the intention of saving them all and come out with as many as I can.
You're exactly right. Yes.
And I can tell by your voice and the way you speak to me that you can jerk somebody up by the shirt collar and so to speak, and tell them what they need to be told in a harsh voice, but they still know that you love them. I can tell that by your voice.
Yes, sir. That's very true. I do. I love each and every one of them, and they know that.
Right.
These kids know that.
Now, I want to ask you this: if somebody like me, who was wheelchair bound and said, I want to join this course and I want to do something to better myself as an American, what avenues could you put somebody like me in, for instance?
You can come on in. Okay, so you're wheelchair bound, so you can't actually physically execute a left face or a right face, but I'm pretty sure you can explain to me how it's done.
Right.
Or you could talk somebody through it. So
right.
It's just as good.
Right.
A lot of the academics, it's hands-on. Well, I have tables. I put a student up on a table, and you can go ahead and splint that suspected fracture of that right leg. You don't even have to remove yourself from the wheelchair to do so. So, you can still do everything that everybody else does. Now, would it be difficult to get you out there on that color guard field? Yeah, it sure would. But you know what? I bet you we could do it.
We could find a way to get it done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have kids on a football team, and they want to do color guard. I talk to the coaches. I said, I don't care. Let them be in their uniform. That's fine. So they can come out there. I've had females in dance uniforms, cheerleaders, football players, you name it, doing color guard. So
I love
there's a will, there's a way.
I love that. Well, Sergeant Spradlin, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed our conversation. I hope you've enjoyed it half as much as I have. Is there anything else that I didn't cover that you want to say about the program?
Well, just the emphasis on, it's not a recruiting tool.
Right.
And kids do not have to go into the military simply because they take the class. It's about leadership. It's about leadership.
Well, I thank you so much, Sergeant, for your time.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.